This is one of the smallest camper vans you can actually live in. Not sleep in, live in. It has a proper bed, a real kitchen, a toilet, a shower, and it even fits into places where larger motorhomes simply can't go. Sounds perfect, right? Well, not so fast. There's one design choice inside this van that could completely change your opinion. So before you think this is the perfect compact camper, let's see exactly what the 2026 now Boxlife 540 MQ gets right, and where it falls short. It's 540 centimeters long. That single fact is what makes this vehicle genuinely interesting, because parking a camper van in a city in a tight campsite on a narrow road, that's usually the thing that ruins your trip before it begins. At this length, you can slot this into spaces that would make a full-size motorhome driver weep. The sticker price is €67,000. And for what you're getting, that's actually a reasonable number. I'll come back to how it compares to the competition, because that comparison matters. The weight comes in at €2,843 kg, leaving you 657 kilos of payload. Realistically, that's a comfortable number for two people traveling with normal gear. You're not going to fill that payload unless you're making some very questionable packing decisions. Walk inside and the first thing you notice is the easy entry table. The reason it's called that is because there's nothing underneath it. No structure in the way, so you can actually get past it without turning sideways and holding your breath. That's good design thinking. What is not good design thinking is the sign on the table telling you not to put weight on it. A table you can't put things on is a philosophical object, not a practical one. I've seen these break in other vans too, and they break without much encouragement. Just be aware of that going in. The kitchen block is compact, functional, and everything you'd expect in a van this size. A fridge, 2 burners, and a sink. All in a tight footprint, all where they need to be. No complaints there. Now the toilet and shower area. Here's where I want to spend a moment, because there's a decision now made that I genuinely don't understand. The shower is positioned on the same side as the toilet, separated by an interior double wall. Follow the logic. The point of that wall presumably is to keep moisture away from the living area, but the sink is on the other side of it. So, what the wall is actually doing is protecting the sink from getting wet, not protecting anything important, not keeping the toilet compartment dry, not adding any real function. It's a wall that solves a problem nobody had. I'd strongly prefer to see the shower positioned on the opposite side of that wall. In a van that's working this hard to make the most of 540 centimeters, every design decision has to earn its place. That one doesn't. The sliding door between the toilet area and the main living space is a sensible piece of engineering. It moves cleanly, locks into place when you need it open, slides across fully when you want privacy. Simple, does the job, doesn't get in the way. More vans should do doors this well. At the back, the bed. It's made up of 3 separate mattress sections rather than one continuous slab, which matters for one reason. You can pull them out and use the back as storage or load space when you don't need the sleeping setup. There's a mattress topper on it right now, and without the topper it sits a little firm, but that's a matter of personal preference and easily fixed. Storage runs along the back wall. It's deep and it has soft close mechanisms. That detail matters more than people think at 2 a.m. on a campsite. Soft close is the difference between a peaceful night and an annoyed neighbor. You've got 2 spotlights pointing downward at the sleeping area, a shelf running along the top, and door pockets for the bits you want within reach at night. Looking up near the cab area, there's a logical spot where a small television could be mounted if that's something you want. The van isn't wired for one from the factory, but that's not a complicated thing to add. The storage up front also has soft clothes, same as the rear. Consistent detail, and it matters. Step outside and look at the rear of the vehicle. Gas storage is here, a medium-sized container. And the reason it's medium rather than large is that the heating in this van runs on diesel, not gas. The gas is only for cooking. Now, diesel heating is a topic people have opinions about, and I understand both sides. Personally, I prefer diesel heating. The fuel cost comparison with gas is closer than people assume. Yes, diesel costs more per liter, but you use so little of it for heating that the actual running cost balances out. And diesel heating is simply more reliable in cold conditions. It also means you're not dependent on gas availability, which varies significantly across different countries. The rear doors open with windows that can be opened independently, useful for ventilation when you're parked up and want airflow without opening the full doors. The lashing points in the floor are positioned at an angle, which is an unusual choice, but it's actually a practical one. Angled tie-down points give you more flexibility in how you secure cargo, so they're more useful than straight ones in most real-world packing situations. Here's where I want to address something that matters for anyone thinking about using this van long-term: the toilet. People constantly underestimate how much a proper onboard toilet changes the experience of van life. I'd go further and say it changes how van life affects the places you visit. The single biggest reason camper vans get banned from lobby spots, beach parking areas, and quiet rural spots is human waste. When people without sanitation facilities use public spaces as toilets and leave without cleaning up, the response from local authorities is access restrictions for everyone. A van with a proper cassette toilet means you hold your waste, you dispose of it at the right facility when it's available, and you're not contributing to the problem that's getting all of us locked out of our favorite spots. If you're choosing between a van with a toilet and a van without one, the one with a toilet is the right choice. Not just for your own comfort, for everyone's access. Now the comparison that actually matters. How does the Boxlife 540 MQ sit against the Cargo Malibu 540 of it for heating that the actual running cost balances out? And diesel heating is simply more reliable in? Because the Malibu is the obvious alternative in this segment. Honestly, in terms of overall build quality and brand reputation, I think the Malibu has the edge. If both vans were the same price, I'd point you toward the Malibu without hesitating. But they're not the same price. The price difference between these two vehicles is significant, and at that gap, the value calculation shifts. The now at €67,000 is doing a lot of things right. It's competitively priced for the segment. The layout mostly works. The soft close storage is a nice touch, and the diesel heating system is practical for year-round use. Given the real-world cost difference, I'd recommend the Boxlife 540 MQ over the Malibu. That's not a conclusion I arrive at easily, but the numbers support it. If you want a genuinely small, genuinely self-contained camper van with a proper toilet and shower, standing room, and a price that doesn't require you to liquidate your savings, this is the vehicle I'd be seriously looking at. The easy entry table is a weak point and worth being aware of. The shower wall positioning is a missed opportunity, but the core of this van, the layout, the size, the systems, the price, all of it adds up to something that's hard to argue with.